Is Jack Flaherty back? Well, the Tigers fans are hoping so, as the Tigers pounced on the Astros with Flaherty on the bump. This is MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Welcome into another edition of Locked On MLB Game Night, where it's every game, every night. My name is Jon Frisch. I'm one half of Locked On Angels. With me is a man who is still waiting for them to bring back new Coke, J.D. Hafron of Locked On Cardinals. Coming up on today's show, a Philly starter may have had the bounce-back performance that he really needed. The Pirates send Paul Skenes to the mound versus the Blue Jays. And while the Cubs and Brewers plan to play two today, the Cubs are happy with playing just the one after their performance in Game 1. Before we get to all that, we want to thank our friends at FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. Let's take it to Detroit, JD, where we've got two American League teams destined for the playoffs. They're in first place in their respective divisions, trying to hold on to those respective first place spots at the top of their divisions. But after back-to-back losses to the White Sox and the Twins, Jack Flaherty of the Tigers would look to turn things around against the Astros and their starter, Spencer Arrighetti. Let's take it to Brett of Locked On Astros, who probably wants to forget this one and just go ahead and move on to the next.
Rally, rally, let's go Astros. Well, let's wait for Game 2 because Game 1 was not it. I'm H-Town Wheelhouse here with Locked On Astros. The Astros fan base is very frustrated, and also there are questions being asked around town. Is this team even inspired enough to win a game? They just seem lifeless. They just don't have the gumption to go out there and win. But you know what? Despite being shut out in 3 of the last 4 games and only scoring 4 runs and winning that game with the walk-off by a ground out, the Astros still maintain a 1.5 game lead because the Mariners seem to not see that there's a door being kicked wide open in front of them to take the AL West division lead. The Astros do hang their hopes on Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez, but Tyrik Skubal waits in the wings. It's going to be a pitcher's duel. Can the Astros catch a few mistakes by Skubal and get on the board early and Hunter Brown hold off the charging Tigers, or will we see more of the same? Stay tuned in to Locked On Astros, no matter win, lose, or anything in between. And Chas McCormick, he's got 1 shutout inning in 2 straight games. Chaz for Cy Young.
Yeah, this was a pounding. Detroit destroyed the Astros 10-0 in this one, JD. Jack Flaherty talked about a bounce-back performance. This one was great. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts, obviously 7 shutout innings. He was helped out by 4 Tigers home runs. Wenzel Perez, Riley Green, Trey Sweeney, Colt Keith. Unfortunately, no Dylan Dinger in this one, JD. And then as Brett mentioned, Chas McCormick would end up pitching the end of this game for the Astros. But with this win, the Tigers are now back at the top of the American League with 74 wins. The Blue Jays, with their loss that we'll talk about here in a little bit, they're still behind them with 73 wins. So great turnaround game for Flaherty. Hasn't quite been what the Tigers expected when they signed him. Of course, they brought him back after trading him to the Dodgers last season. I tried to find out what was different with Flaherty this time around for him, and I found that he had 16 called strikes on the fastball tonight. So he was spotting that really well. In fact, he had 18 called strikes plus whiffs because he had 2 whiffs on the fastball in this one. JD, could this be a situation where Jack Flaherty is getting right at the right time? What are your thoughts?
I mean, for their sake, they need him to be better than what he has been. I mean, they obviously they went through a bit of a lull here in the second half of the season, and maybe they're just timing things out perfectly. Maybe they learned a little bit from last year. They're like, you know what? Let's just relax. Let's pump the brakes on things, and let's just take a step back. And then we'll get things revved up again and we'll get hot going into the playoffs. But yeah, Jack is, Jack's been a fickle pitcher over the years. We know him quite well in St. Louis, where, you know, when he was healthy, he seemed pretty good, but last year was the best I'd ever seen him pitch.
Yeah.
He was incredible. Did have a lot of success with the Dodgers when he did get traded over, and they were hoping things would get better coming back to Detroit, being more comfortable there, but it just it hasn't happened. But you never know. You know, you get hot, you find something that clicks. Maybe you change an arm slot, you do something with the ball, whatever it is, they got things going for him tonight. I'm sure he's going to try to replicate it moving forward because he was really good.
Yeah, I think you make a good point about the Tigers not wanting to burn out too brightly and too soon. And so maybe the lull was, you know, a silver lining for them at the end of the day, because they are back at the top of the AL, the American League again. So there you go.
It kind of makes you know, like, okay, wait, we are mortal. You know, you see what the Brewers are doing to people right now, and you're like, nobody can ever touch us. Where the Tigers are like, you know, hey, we were hot, and now we realize that it's not as easy as we thought it is. So maybe it's a lesson learned, and will help them moving forward. We'll see.
Let's hit copy and paste on this Tigers game and talk about the Mariners meeting the Phillies in Philadelphia. They both have their sights set on the playoffs. This time it was interleague play, as Ranger Suarez, much like Jack Flaherty, struggled in his last two starts against the Reds, and the Orioles took the L in both of those matchups. He'd look to hold the Mariners quiet and depend on the Phillies offense to come through against Seattle's Logan Gilbert. Let's find out from Connor Thomas how the Phillies offense powered their way to a win despite a shaky bullpen.
The Phils offense explodes again in their series opener against the Mariners, and that is good to see 2 games in a row. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies, and Bryce Harper, a multi-home run night. Trey Turner hits his first home run at Citizens Bank Park on the year, and the Phillies offense really, really stepped up. And Ranger Suarez was pretty darn good too. This is the look of a team that got the Zach Wheeler news and said, hey, it's time to buckle down and do this ourselves, because they may not get their ace back. But man, if they keep playing like this, hey, you never know. They might still have a chance at this thing. Now, the bullpen needs to get worked out, because Jordan Romano, another rough one for him. And I don't know how he's still on this baseball team. It drives me insane. These games shouldn't be close when you jump out to those kind of leads and when you get that type of start like you did out of Ranger. And you just have a couple of guys still in this bullpen that are basically unusable. But with Joan Duran back there and David Robertson, Matt Strom, Ryan Kirkring, Jose Alvarado coming back tomorrow, you may have enough. We'll talk more on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
Now, you know I'm on the Angels side of social media, but the Phillies side of social media leaked onto my trending, and it was DFA Romano. And so Connor's not the only one feeling that way, but Ranger Suarez was pretty darn good. 6 2 innings, 2/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 10 strikeouts. On the Mariners side, this is maybe the worst start I've seen from Logan Gilbert. 2 innings pitched, 9 hits, 6 earned runs, and just 1 strikeout. And here's the thing. We had a bounce-back performance from a starting pitcher and 4 homers to back him up, just like in the Tigers game. It was a 2-homer night from Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, and Trey Turner. As he mentioned, Trey Turner's first home run at Citizens Bank Park all
He said
season.
that. I was like, what? Is it really? How does that even happen?
They needed a home run standing ovation for Trey Turner. 21 hits from this Phillies lineup. Every starter had a multi-hit game in the starting 9 except for Alec Boehm. He had 1 hit. So there you go. Mariners tried to fight their way back into it against the shaky Phillies pen, but just came up short in this 12-7 win for the Phillies. Now, I know this was kind of an anomaly game for Logan Gilbert going 2 innings, but JD, is this a potential World Series matchup? What do you think? Is this the year the Mariners do it?
It's certainly like the Mariners did all they could to be in contention for this. You know, they already have the starting pitching, which they normally always rely on, but then when they go out and they get the 2 boppers that they needed, that haven't done as much as that. At least Suarez hasn't done as much as they were hoping he would do. I think Naylor's has fit in just fine, but you know, Suarez hasn't been as hot as he was when he was with the Diamondbacks. Changing ballpark can have that effect sometimes. But you know, they did all they could to complete this roster. it hasn't quite worked the way they wanted it to just yet. There's obviously plenty of time to gel and get things right, but they've lost 3 in a row, 5 of their last 10. So they're looking to get back into things because remember I feel like they got hot right away after the trade deadline. Did they win like 8 in a row? And then now things have cooled off a little bit. So maybe it's just one of those swings that's happening right now. But there's a lot of talent on that roster, so it wouldn't shock me if they were one of the teams that ended up taking off in the playoffs.
I think I said it on this show. The minute you put on that navy blue and that teal, for especially Eugenio Suarez, I knew he was going to stink in a Mariners uniform because I watched him do it for 2 years. He stunk, and
he'd been there before. There was a reason they didn't want him around anymore, and then they're like, "Ooh, look at him now! Let's bring him back.
Please come back."
Same old stuff. Again, changing ballparks, changing leagues, changing divisions, and the people you're going up against. It's a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, the Brewers and the Cubs were supposed to play 2 games today, but Chicago's like, you know what? Let's just play the one because we're not really feeling a game 2. That one got postponed, and we'll tell you about it all coming up next on MLB Game Night.
Today's show being brought to you by FanDuel, August 26th. So we're just about a week away right now from the FanDuel Futures Day. If you haven't heard about it, it's a brand new holiday. It's for football fans like you and me who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, that's it. FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're going to call out your MVP, you're eyeing a long shot division winner, or you're ready to crown your Super Bowl champion before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. Now, I'm a Packers fan. I'm a Packers owner. So I'm guessing they're just going to sweep all the awards, right? Jordan Love's going to be MVP because it's always a quarterback. They're going to win the division because the Bears stink. They're always going to stink. We're always going to own them. That's the way it is. Vikings losing their coaches and stuff. Things are happening in the division. Detroit also losing offensive coordinator. They're going to bring the Lombardi back. They're going to bring him back to Green Bay where it belongs. I mean, our coach's name is on the trophy. Come on home. Come on home, Lombardi. Visit the FanDuel app today. Start planning your futures bets now because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game.
Back here on an MLB Game Night where it's every game, every night. The Blue Jays head to Pittsburgh to face the Pirates. Paul Skenes on the bump, looking to cool off. Those hot-hitting Blue Jays, they had a 5-game lead over the Boston Red Sox in the AL East. Let's take it to Gary of Locked On Pirates, who's putting the blame on Toronto for how this one played out. Here we go.
Well, the Pirates are coming off a really rough road trip and facing the best team, at least by record, in the American League in the Toronto Blue Jays, with one of the better pitchers in the league, Kevin Gausman, going for them. Granted, the Pirates had Paul Skenes going. You expected this to be at least a competitive game, but it sure turned into a circus quick. Hey, this is Gary from Locked On Pirates. Bucks win this one 5-2 over the Blue Jays. I'd love to tell you about the incredible offensive performance and all the key contributors, and there were some, but nothing factored in more than the Blue Jays just throwing this game away. My goodness, error after error from the pitchers. Nobody could throw to second base under any circumstances. I think they had an error from the catcher, 2 from the pitcher. I mean, brutal sequences there towards the end of the game to just completely give it away. It was a tightly contested 2-2 ball game. Paul Skenes and Gausman both shoved. Bullpens were both cruising. And then Little just, I don't know, wild pitch and got the yips. Something happened. And then the yips just infected the whole team. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Hey, look for a lot of content from me tomorrow. And on top of a new show in the morning, I'm going to see Connor Griffin debut in AA Altoona. A lot of content coming from out there, too. Check it out all day long on Locked On Pirates.
Yeah, Gary's a great follow, so be sure you're tuned in to Locked On Pirates. Now, Skenes went 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 5 hits, 8 strikeouts. Did not factor into the decision. So despite
life, right?
Yeah, exactly. So despite the great performance, didn't get the win. But of course, the Pirates did get the win 5-2 over the Blue Jays. JD, bench is cleared in the 7th inning. And at the center of it all, was Tommy Pham. It's
My
always Tommy Pham, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always Pham because he's just his blood's always hot. Like, we're supposed to, what's it supposed to be, like 98? His is always at like 110 all the time. He's intense, and he's a guy that you love having on your team. He drew. Basically, what happened here is he drew a walk, and it appeared that he may have deliberately dropped his bat in front of the catcher, Tyler.
That was a bat flip for a walk if I ever saw one.
Yeah, and so the two exchange words, like Tommy started to trot down to first base, and then the catcher said something. He turned around and he gave him like some sort of gesture. I don't know really what it was, but they started to get face to face, nose to nose, and the benches have to come out. Poor bullpen dude's got to run all the way in for no real reason because nothing happened. There were no punches thrown. It got cooled off real quick, but another victory for the Pirates. They were able to knock off the Blue Jays by a score of 5-2.
Yeah, Pham was suspended earlier this season for an obscene gesture he made at an Angels fan when the Pirates were in Anaheim earlier this year. So
I missed that. I didn't know.
It's always Pham. It's always Pham. Let's take it to Brewers meeting the Cubs in Chicago. The Brewers had their 14-game win streak snapped in extra innings and wasted little time taking out their revenge on the team chasing them in the NL Central. Let's take it to Chuck from Locked On Brewers with his thoughts on the day game in Chicago.
Well, the Brewers don't like the taste of losing for very long, do they? They bounced back quickly today, got the W at Wrigley Field. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, Instant Reaction, Locked On Brewers. Craig Counsell, we already know he doesn't know where George Webb is. Never heard of George Webb. But, he obviously didn't, he and his staff didn't do any scouting on the Milwaukee Brewers. The mistakes other teams have been making against the Brewers this year, that was magnified by his Cubs team today. Throwing the ball away, wild pitches, errors, just mistakes. And the Brewers just tacked on to their early 2-0 lead. Turang and Durbin hit home runs, and then the Cubs turned into the Keystone Cops. And honestly, that was an embarrassing performance for the Cubs. And you know what? They weren't going to score any runs anyway. Freddie Peralta was so great. He got his 15th win. Now, I don't know if they're going to play the second game of this doubleheader. Counsell may find a way to not play this one because there's going to be rain in the area. And they may, the Cubs do some strange things down there with cancellations of games. So they may not want to play this game. They may use that as an excuse not to wait this rain out. So we'll see if there's a game 2. But the Brewers do take game 1 in easy fashion. I don't expect the Cubs to show much resistance at all in this series. The Brewers are just that good. See you later on tonight. Next edition of Locked On Brewers. Please subscribe.
Well, as Chuck mentioned, it was supposed to be a doubleheader today, but Mother Nature, according to Chuck, maybe Craig Counsell were the reasons why this game got postponed. And so this one's going to take part of a doubleheader on Tuesday. As for the Cubs, here's Sam Ober from Locked On Cubs on the loss at Wrigley and the crowd's response to Kyle Tucker.
Well, unfortunately, the worst case scenario, the outcome that we all probably thought was coming, came Monday afternoon at Wrigley Field. I'm Sam Ober from the Locked On Cubs podcast. The Cubs were, I think, embarrassed is the appropriate word, 7-0. Now, a lot of the runs at the end of the game came from Little and Hollowell, and they were only in the game because Cade Horton got hurt early with a blister. So because of a doubleheader situation, the Cubs had to use a lot of low-leverage guys. But offensively, it was, I tried to spin it yesterday. There were some positive signs, and I know Freddie Peralta is a really good pitcher, but was it rough. Cubs had one scoring chance. Unfortunately, it fell to Owen Casey, who just inexplicably didn't get a chance to play in a soft landing spot against the Pirates, and they throw him out there against one of the best pitchers in baseball, and he predictably struck out in a big spot. That was it. Cubs had like 2 or 3 hits the whole game. 7-0 final. Horton leaves with a blister. The Cubs offense, 29th in runs since the All-Star break, and they added to that with 0. On Monday afternoon. And I think the big headline is Kyle Tucker went 0 for 4, and 3 of the 4 at-bats, he was booed loudly. When are they going to give him some time off, just mentally, if not physically, because it is ugly right now. Game 2 looks like a lot of rain in the area. Would be surprised if they got this game in. Let's see what happens. Hopefully they don't.
Well, they did not. And, they mentioned... Sam mentioned Kyle Tucker. Through the first 83 games, he was hitting .291 with 17 home runs, 52 RBIs, on pace for a 33 homer season, 101 RBIs. Cubs were 48 and 35. They were sitting pretty, cruising right along. And since then, he's batting 189 with one whole home run, 10 RBIs in 38 games. And the Cubs are 20 and 18 over that span. So just not a lot of offense happening between him and Pete Crow Armstrong.
Yeah, it's all of them. It's not really. I know Tucker's the one that gets, yelled at because he was the big acquisition this offseason, but it's not just him. Like the whole lineup has gone ice cold at the same time. And even the guys they brought in, was it Willie Castro? Was one of the guys they got for the Twins. He's done nothing for them so far. So tough times for the Cubbies.
No good at all. Hey, the Reds do something that has never been done in the fourth oldest stadium in Major League Baseball. We'll tell you about it next on MLB Game Night.
Today's show is being brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Now, preseason already heating up. Had a game here on Monday where it was the Bengals and the Washington Commanders. I always want to say the bad word because I'm so used to hearing it. But no, the Commanders. So we already know they're underway in the preseason. College football not too far behind, which is great. It's a perfect time to lock in your season-long more or less picks for the 2025 football season. And you get to do it all before week one kicks off. So whether you got your eye on a big-name quarterback, maybe a breakout running back like an Ashton Genty, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in the game. Certain picks that just kind of stand out to you. I know people have been eyeing up this Josh Allen, 27.5 touchdowns. Like, kind of feels like a no-brainer that he's going to beat that, barring any injuries. So that seems like an easy one. And maybe there's some other ones that stand out to you. So check them out. Check out the flex play option. It's a total game changer. Even when one of your picks misses, you still double your money. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. After you play that first $5 lineup, that's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, run your game.
So the Angels have lost 8 in a row to the Reds, going back to 2019, and the Reds look to make it 9 in a row on Monday night in Anaheim. Here's Jeff Carr of Locked On Reds with the outcome from the Cincinnati side.
Alex had a bomb in the first inning, but this game was all about Ke'Bryan Hayes and the pitching as the Reds win 4-1 against the Angels. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast, and the Cincinnati Reds looked pretty good to start the series in LA. They left a lot of runners on base, but this was about the run prevention side of things. Brady Singer with 6 really solid innings, and then the Reds ended up winning a game in which Connor Phillips and Luis May both pitched in. Both guys, very volatile relievers that could easily lose you a game as much as they could keep you in a game. But it was great to see that the Reds were able to survive a night in which they had to use those two guys. And then Scott Barlow with a 4-out save. He's pitched no less than 752 times this year, and he looked like he could pitch another 752 after that performance. But Ke'Bryan Hayes was dazzling at third base. Amazing defense by him. Couple of plays that, once again, nobody on this roster is making. Just nobody. You put him at third base, nobody is as good as that. And what an awesome trade that was for Nick Krall. As he continues to improve at the plate, Ke'Bryan Hayes is going to be a key member of this team for the next couple of years.
Key member of the team. That's a good pun. I think that was unintentional on Jeff's part. Yeah, it was a 4-1 Reds win.
Only you pick up on that. Only you would do that.
It's that dad brain. Listen, that's in the history of Angel Stadium, the fourth oldest stadium in the league, there have never been 3 leadoff triples hit in a game until tonight. Ellie De La Cruz obviously got one. Austin Hayes and Ke'Bryan Hayes had one as well. Obviously, he mentioned Ke'Bryan Hayes being so good over at third base. There was a ball that was hit off of Brady Singer's foot, and Ke'Bryan Hayes picked it up and threw out Bryce Teodosio, who had a 33-mile-an-hour sprint speed going down the line, and Ke'Bryan Hayes still got him out by a hair. So the Reds take this first game in the series 4-1. JD, take us to your Cardinals meeting the Marlins in Miami.
Yeah, Cardinals have lost 5 in a row. They're quickly fading out of any sort of contention for that wild card, while the Marlins had their future ace on the mound, Yuri Perez. And this was a game where I was like, oh boy, Perez is going to come in and just kind of go through us like a knife through hot butter. And he was doing that. He was cruising through 4 innings. And then in the 5th, Fisher up 2-0 at the time. And he just lost all of his command. It was bizarre. All of a sudden, it was a walk. And then there was an error. And then there was a wild pitch. And then he gives up a single. And then there's another wild pitch. And then there's another walk. And just like that, he was out of the game. And we're like, oh, okay. Threw 4 wild pitches in this game. And in just 4 1/3 innings, ended up walking 4 and 6 strikeouts, but got up to 86 total pitches. Obviously, they're watching his pitch count after coming back from the injury. And the Cardinals were able to take advantage of that mess. They take a 3-2 lead that inning. They take advantage of another inexcusable error on a drop fly ball in right field by Dane Myers with 2 outs. That runner comes around to score, and they take the lead for good, 4-3. They tack on 4 more, including 3 in the 9th. Nolan Gorman hit a 2-run shot, which was nice to see to blow it open. They go on to win this one by a score of 8-3. Their starter, Matthew Liberatore, made it through 5 innings for the first time since July 5th. Yay! Although he didn't factor into the decision, it was nice to see him finally get through 5 innings. It had been a while. That win snaps their 5-game losing streak. So happy vibes in St. Louis right now.
There you go. Let me take you to Boston, where the Orioles met the Red Sox. 6-3 Orioles victory. The Orioles might be out of the playoff race, but they can play a little spoiler for their AL East rivals. And since his return at the end of May, Trevor Rogers has been a silver lining, a glimmer of hope for Baltimore. Kind of an unexpected emergence. He's been dominant. He faced off against Dustin May in his 3rd start as a member of the Red Sox, and both of them were excellent, but Rogers was just a little bit better. 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run that came in the 7th inning, 1 walk and 7 Ks. Dustin May kind of had a bit of a tough luck loss, going 6 innings pitched, 8 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. Big day for Gunnar Henderson, homered, tripled. Orioles win this one 6-3. JD, take us to where the Rocky Mountains are a little rockier than this, in the words of Lloyd Christmas. There you go.
You're going to like this one, John, in case you haven't seen it. I hope you didn't peek ahead and cheat. But after sweeping the Padres over the weekend, Dodgers seemed to kind of get their mojo back, right? You know, the Padres were coming up on them and took over first place for a moment there, but they were able to sweep them in L.A. So now you're going to travel to Colorado. You're going to face the last place Rockies. Should be a cakewalk, right? The champs are coming in. They're going to smoke them, right? In the words of Chris Berman, that's why they play the game. Dodgers had a 3-2 lead in the 7th, but shortstop Ezekiel Tovar blasts his 7th home run of the season. It was an Oppo Taco to tie it up off of Yamamoto. Tovar in his career against Yamamoto so far, I think he's got his number. 7 for 10 with 2 home runs. Whoa. Maybe I ought to switch it up against that dude. Remained tied until the 9th inning when Tovar hits a 1-out double, and it was Warming Bernable who singles him home to walk it off. Rockies topple the Dodgers 4-3. Rockies that win snaps their 2-game losing streak to just the Dodgers, and it gives them 4 wins in a row. 6 of their last 7. Do not, I repeat, do not let the Rockies get hot.
Don't let it happen. You could already hear Chris Berman on that Tovar home run. Back, gone. All right.
He did it.
On the other side of things, you got the Giants meeting the Padres in San Diego. Now, my Angels did all the dirty work for the Padres last week, sweeping the Dodgers, helping the Padres get to first place in the NL West, but they squandered it this weekend, getting swept by the Dodgers, and they were hoping to gain some ground because the Dodgers lost to the Rockies. Well, it didn't start out well for Nestor Cortez of the Padres. Gave up back-to-back jacks to Elliot Ramos and Rafi Devers. Then after a Casey Smith double, it was Wilmer Flores who homered. So 5 batters in, 3 home runs, and a 4-0 Giants lead. Ugh. That's how it would stay until the 7th. And Padres fans have been clamoring for Ryan O'Hearn to start. They can't understand why Mike Schilt won't start him. And he didn't start this one, but he did pinch hit for Jake Cronenworth, delivered a 2-run home run off Robbie Ray to put the Padres within 1. But the Giants bullpen shut it down as San Francisco won this one 4-3. Let's take you to the Rangers meeting the Royals in Kansas City. 2 teams hoping to get back into the wild card race. Royals gained some ground over the Rangers while hoping to catch the Guardians ahead of them. Let's go to Jack Johnson from Locked On Royals with his thoughts on this KC victory.
Make that 4 straight wins for the Royals as they top the Rangers tonight 4-3. I'm the host of Locked On Royals, Jack Johnson, giving you a few takeaways from tonight's game. Well, as we've seen really since the All-Star break, this offense doesn't really have any shortage of power in games like this. Mike Yastrzemski goes yard to lead off the game. That's the 3rd time he's done it in a Royals uniform. Vinny Pasquantino had a 2-run shot, and Michael Garcia, who continues to put on such a show this season, he also had a solo shot in this game. But the Royals really had to squeak by in this one. Lucas Ursig did give up 1 run in the 8th inning, but Carlos Estevez did slam the door in the 9th to cap off the 4-3 victory. Again, make that 4 straight. They're now 3.5 games back of New York for the final wild card spot. They'll hand the ball over to Seth Lugo tomorrow, who will try to end all the struggles he's been having, and he'll go toe-to-toe with Merrill Kelly.
Got a great stat here about Yastrzemski, JD, that you put in here. Why don't you share that with us?
Oh, so Yastrzemski's 4th home run for the Royals since he's been traded over there. 3rd as their leadoff hitter, all of which have come here in the month of August. That actually ties a couple of big-time Royals legends in a way. Johnny Damon back in 99, Alex Gordon in 2012 for the most leadoff home runs in a single month in Royals history. Damon and Gordon also share the club record for leadoff home runs in a single season. So big-time production coming from Yastrzemski since coming over from San Francisco. So you like to see it. Good trades happening for teams.
Absolutely. I still can't believe he's not a Giant anymore. That's crazy to me. Let's take it to Arizona. A team looking to stay in the AL wildcard race is the Cleveland Guardians. They'd have to head to the desert, face Zach Gallen for the Diamondbacks. And it was a pitcher's duel between Zach Gallen and Gavin Williams going for Cleveland. And it was Gavin over Gallen in this one. Williams tossed 5 1/3 innings of shutout ball, 5 Ks to get his 8th win of the season. Gallen, for his part, went 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 3 Ks, got burned twice by the long ball, once in the 2nd with a solo blast by the Guardians' 4th-ranked prospect, CJ Kayfus, his 2nd home run, and then, his 2nd home run, and again in the 5th on a 2-run shot by Brian Rocchio, his 3rd. So the Guardians win it 3-1, 3 games back in the AL wildcard race.
And finally, we wrap it up with the White Sox at the Braves. White Sox scored a total of 5 runs during 4 straight losses leading into their series opener on Monday night against Atlanta at Truist Park. But their offense would bust out in a major way in this one, John. The Sox hit not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 home runs, including 2 of them off Spencer Strider, who looks like a shell of himself coming back from injury this year. He got batted around for 7 runs on 10 hits in just 3 innings of work. You had Kyle Teal and Andrew Benintendi would get 4 hits each. Lenin Sosa would drive in 4 as the Sox hang 13 on Atlanta and win this one by a score of 13-9. Atlanta did have a couple hitters do well. Jerickson Profar had a big night. He went 3 for 5 with 2 dingers and 5 ribbies. Michael Harris II, also 4 for 4, hit his 15th dinger in the losing cause.
4 home runs all across baseball from these teams. It's insane that how many 4-homer games there were on this Monday night. Thanks for joining us for this episode of MLB Game Night. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Check us out in your audio feed as well. We hope you'll come back and visit us next time on MLB Game Night, where it's every game, every night.